All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Here we go, preparing. All right. Hey, hello, wrestling world, the Florida Wrestling Room, World Wrestling page, Wrestling Nation, and everybody out here in Florida and across the country that's tuning in. First of all, thank you so much. You've made this platform just amazing. And today we have another Florida coach in Joe Blasucci, another good one down there at Somerset. And he's been there 9 years, almost 10. He's also got one of the biggest, baddest clubs around in South Florida, Lightning. And he just got Coach of the Year, according to Sun Sentinel. And this year was a great year. 8 placers, 2 champs. And he's got a little 7th grader that might be breaking some records. Hey, Coach, man, thank you so much for coming on. And
thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Man, these times we're in, we're missing some off-season stuff. What have you been doing to kind of keep your kids motivated? And
well, I missed 3 of my own home tournaments, and then I do a lot of the South Dade tournaments, and then the travel. We travel all over the country, and that's shut down. So that's been tough for sure.
Yeah,
none of my travel teams can go, even my own kids, but we go to many events, and it's all shut down right now.
Wow. And what have you been in touch with your wrestlers, kind of keeping their mind right? Or
yeah, we talk all the time. I got some scholarly kids, so they're harassing me all the time. We're getting them into colleges and I have a big junior class, and they're all very, very good in the classroom, and they're all trying to go to Princeton and Stanford. And so I got to be emailing coaches and working on their resumes and stuff. So.
Oh, well, we had the
I know
guys on.
Coach Ayers, yeah.
Wow, I tell you what, talking to Coach Ayers and Dubuque, I could see why they win. Man, their energy is just, and their love for just people,
Yeah, they're good guys.
So man, it's awesome. So you had Caban, the 2 Diaz boys. Are they brothers?
No, they're not. Well, they're not. Nope.
Nope. And then you had Estevez, Casas, Concepcion, Miranda, and Benton. And those were your guys. They all placed. And then you had
Chase Gillis is a former placer as well, and that weight was a buzzsaw. 126 this year. He lost a couple overtime matches, to the multiple placers. But we expect to see him do good things, yeah.
And that match with one of the matches of the whole tournament was that Miranda Tobias match.
Yeah.
Tobias,
I'd like to say Sean Concepcion's match with Brinkman was better for me.
Oh, that was that was a great.
We'll go with that one. I'm not admitting to that other one.
Yeah, Concepcion. Yeah, it was a tough moment there for Brinkman. He's such a good kid, but it happens, right? You win some and you lose some.
Sean's a tough kid, man. That kid was battling through some adversity nobody knows about.
Yeah. Well, and I think they were.
He pulled it off. I mean, that kid was just
kids.
Tough as nails. He is.
Yeah. I think both of those kids, Brinkman too, was going through some adversity, and but it was a good match, and just it had to go one way, right? Somebody wins and somebody loses. And I'm sure you're just happy it was your guy.
Yeah, I mean, I got to say, he worked hard from what he was dealing with and worked through it, and was on a tear before it happened, and then disappeared for about 2 months, showed back up at districts, kind of walked his way to the state tournament, and didn't know. I knew what to expect, and he did, but everyone else didn't in our town, or our team didn't. We weren't sure what was going to happen. I don't even know how he was out there, to be honest.
Yeah, that's great. I think I was in Michigan this year when Brinkman tore his knee. So I think they both.
Yeah, I know he had it. It was a battle of the knees there.
Yeah, well, he's been a good kid to my son, And
he wrestled on one of my South Florida Lightning teams.
Yeah, so
I know Hunter real well.
Good family, and I can't say enough. But Sean Concepcion, God bless him, got that first place finish, and it was good. And yeah, as I was saying, I remember the crowd with that Miranda Tobias match.
Yeah,
It was like
Yeah,
a personal.
Danny Miranda's been in a couple of those.
Yeah, it
He
was like a
also,
it was like,
he's been wrestling with fully torn meniscus, and then his knee would go out on him a lot too as well. But he was doing that all year. Like it's kind of repetitive for him. But
wow. And so there's a kid in here that got second, and everything I read online, there's a really you guys have a special relationship, you and Nick Benton.
oh yeah, Nick Benton. Nick Benton's had the unfortunate luck of being in Kai Bell and you know the boy this year, and then
Yeah, Kaplan.
Bilick and Eric Bilick. Truthfully, the kid been a four-timer if he was in another division,
Yeah, and I
without
know
a doubt.
everything I
Without a
read
doubt,
online was
he broke the state. Well, that's the official state record. It was broke. He broke that this year in wins all
oh,
time,
good for him. Yeah, because there was some
and
articles.
second in the nation. Yeah, but I
Oh,
mean, I know Fox Baldwin won more in the state of Florida. He did it with an extra year, by the way, and it was only 30 more. But that being said, it's not in the record book, so officially he was the state record holder, and Balmacito was second. But not just that, the kid wrestled. He was a 6-time district champ and a 5-time region champ.
wow. And if I tell people if I'm talking over you, I really apologize. The internet these days with everybody
Oh,
home,
no problem.
it's a delay. So sometimes I think you've stopped. So I start and then I realize that we're going at the same time. So just
Yeah,
tell
no
me to
problem.
shut up if I have to.
I teach Zoom classes all day, buddy. It's not a problem.
So you got it. You got it. Yeah. So no, but I read a lot of every time I would type in your name, it was like Benton and coach, Benton and coach, Benton and coach. So it just
Yeah,
seemed,
Nick's a special kid to me. He came to me in the 5th grade, and all of those kids did. They all started with me in the 5th and 6th grade. Pretty much every kid, besides Boss, but he's in the 7th. Those other boys all are Somerset, kids that've been there, and we grew up together. I mean, he was the little kid the chubby kid that got kicked around in the room, and then he wasn't anymore, and so. And he's a great student, a great family, a great kid, mom and dad. Just excellent kid. You don't have to worry about those kids. He signed a Division I scholarship.
good. Where's he going?
Northern Illinois.
Nice.
Yeah. And he did real well. I mean, he's won 4 national titles. He won Michigan. He's won USA Nationals twice. He won the Freak Show in Vegas. He's been like an 18-time All-American, and he's had some great credentials. He never got a state title though.
No, but I think if you talk,
he was laughing when I told him the LHP was out. He goes, "Man, that son of a."
yeah.
He goes, "Geez,
now he's gone, right?
Thanks a lot, bud."
Yeah. I mean,
every one of his guys picked him off for the last 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you talk to Kaplan, he'll tell you that guy's the toughest match he gets.
Yeah. The size factor is still, that kid's so big, What are you gonna do? Yeah, I think he grows from it. I mean, that kid just, he took it well.
Yeah, good for him, and it's been great. Like I tell people, this platform has made me have new people to root for too when I watch these matches, because all I knew was the First Academy kids and the kids at the CFWA club. That's all I've ever known for the last couple of years. So that's who I root for. And
on these travel teams I do, I get the fortune of meeting so many kids over the last 16, 17 years. Every stud you can possibly ever imagine in the state pretty much has wrestled on those teams. And you get to spend time with them, you know what I mean? Away from, there's no mom, there's no dad, there's no coach. And we're in a van driving God knows how many hours. and we bond, you know what I mean? And Pat Lugo, Kendrick Sanders, all those kind of guys way back when. There's some Tommy Timothy's, the Brandon kids. That was some good times. But you see them, and then that's the same thing I get. I go to the state tournament. I'm like, oh, Tom, the guy way down 5 mats down, he wrestled for me 2 times, 2 years, I want to see him too, you know what I mean? So you kind of get a camaraderie. And the kids, it's funny, the kids might hate one another, but they end up, I have a funny story. I had, there was a kid named Esteban Rivera from Miami and Browning from Jensen Beach. And they wrestled in the state finals 3 years in a row. And I don't know who ended up winning two. They kept beating each other in state finals. Well, we went on the trip, and guess where? I put them in the room together in the same bed.
How
And
funny
then
was
I had
that?
another state finals guy in the same. So there was two runner-ups and champs, and I put all four of them in one room. They shared the beds. They just looked at me and started laughing.
But hey, they probably became friends
They
after that.
did become friends. They respected one another. They even wrestled again. That was their junior year, so they had to wrestle again the next year. And they had mad respect for one another.
Yeah, I was talking to, was it Benton? I think, no, Abden. I think I was talking to Abden, and he's got that thing with Hokie. But they're
Yeah.
on there because we've been wrestling on the same club for years, and we're friends. But every state championship, it ends up the two of us. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I mean, I can't. I'm so excited to get back into wrestling rooms now that I've met all these people and do so much. And you know what? I can't wait to. I have so many ideas in my head, right? For where this can go, right? Of course, now it's just been interviews because that's all we can do, right? But and I've been trying to do stuff with the coach, with the ref, Sips,
I
and
saw that. I watched that the other day. You know,
yeah.
those dual meets he's talking about are my team. The one that got the bench clearing brawl with Michigan. That's my team. That was about 8 years ago, 7 years ago.
Yeah,
And it was
and
bad. It was real. They were dirty. They were just punching us. So it's a
wow.
bunch of Miami kids. It didn't work out too well for them.
Yeah, and I just how much fun is it going to be when we actually have matches to break down on a Ask the Ref show and things like
Yeah, I
that.
think that'll be good.
And then
Definitely be good.
how cool! I just want to be back in a room where how cool would it be to just be sitting there and kids are coming in for club practice or a rumble and I can go live with them, and talk to them and uh, just to be there for the finals at a Masters Academy or something and the kids come off the mat and I get to talk to them. So some cool stuff in my mind. So talk about your program and your culture. And obviously you've built something in the last 9 years that,
Yeah, there was nothing there. But when we started, there was nothing there. We didn't have a mat. We had no uniforms. We didn't have singlets. They had on like black and yellow singlets, like just because they couldn't have writing on them. We ordered them, but like we got them like, I don't know, 2 weeks before the district tournament. So we were going around to all these tournaments beating everybody. I had like Chase Singletary, Franco Valdez. I had like five state finalists on the team the first year we started. And we're like, who are these guys? We had some teams with 30 guys, and we had 8 or 9, and we win a dual meet with 8 or 9 guys. But from that, it happened overnight. Oh, you brought in, you recruited guys. The schools knew, the teams knew. Who did I recruit? They're middle school kids. You know what I mean? So it was kind of to kick everyone in the shin, walk in the door, and almost win was like, put a target on you. So, the process on that was, as I was younger, I used to be, a little nutty, as a younger coach. I had a little FU money and at the time, and I just would do whatever I wanted to do as a younger guy. But when I came into this, kind of did it different. My dad would coach for 100 years, semi-pro football, college, everywhere, wrestling, everything. So it's in the family, it's in the blood. But I took a different approach. So I tried to build a team. After the first 2 years, it was hit or miss with guys coming in and out, new guys to the program. Whoever was roaming the countryside would want to cling up with us because we were the new thing in town. Just kids that weren't random kids. And then we stopped all that because I have a K through 12 at the time and one big facility. So we just started building it the right way. And so the 5th and the 6th graders lived Darian Estevez, Sean Concepcion, Skylar Caban, Nick Benton, Danny Miranda. These kids were some of them were hallway walkers. And they're multiple time state finalists or champs or whatever they're doing, and our team GPA was close to 3.6 this year. Yeah.
how do you
And
keep them focused? How do you make sure that academically they're
because I tell them right from the beginning, it's a culture, and there's no It's not going to happen instantly. You're going to build it, but it has to be built the right way. You have to live every part of your life the right way. In the classroom, in the community, and the mat, with teachers. You're never late to class. You're always in your uniform. You don't miss anything. You don't have excuses. And I have an iron fist. So as far as, cracking the whip, so I intimidated them as little guys and created them to be men before they ever hit high school was the concept. I had 11 and 12-year-olds wrestling 18-year-olds in the junior division. They thought it was crazy, literally crazy. And they're like, I don't want to wrestle that kid. I'm like, you know what? And they barely lose. I'm like, you're going to beat that kid by 15 points in about 3 weeks. And then they believed it. And so what happens as you develop them, coach, I got a 3-2. That's terrible. Throws report card on the ground. Say, why do you have 3 B's and a C, with 3 A's? It's not good enough. I just constantly pushed them and raised the bar and had them try to act older and more mature. And if they ever get in trouble, I go, you can get in trouble once. If I have to go to that office twice for you, I'm just going to throw you off the team.
I think it's, we have a program, right? And it started in 6th grade, and then Daniel got in 7th. He's 12, so he's always been a year younger than his grade. And he never experienced youth wrestling. He never experienced middle school wrestling. He never experienced kids his own age. They needed a body for a weight class. He wanted to do it, and he got thrown into it. And he went 0-30, 7th and 8th grade. But I don't think I would have wanted him to do it any other way, because the character that it created with my son is just incredible, because obviously he didn't quit. He kept going, and he did okay this year. He had his first off season where we found a club, and he got a couple of the necklaces for really winning, not like going to like a tournament and there was only 3 people in your weight class and you got a medal. And I don't know, I know that kids don't like to lose, but for some reason, I just feel like it built a better kid having to go through that. And then to get that first win and sit in the locker room at the beginning of this year and just cry, and that feeling of some sort of accomplishment. I don't know. I don't know if I would have wanted him to come out of the gates just blowing people off the mat, because I don't know what kind of guy.
You get kids that are natural that can win really quick. And then the group of kids I have, I'm in Pembroke Pines. I'm not in Miami
right.
But these are whatever you want to call them kids. They're
the reason I said that is because you said you were putting these young kids up against high schoolers, and maybe they were not going to match off here and there, but I think it was good for Daniel to have to do that and wrestle these older kids, because now
pays dividends.
Yeah, so I think I kind of like your style.
Yeah, it really worked well. And right when they got content, I always raised the bar for them for everything they do. Their grades, I give them the speech. The 2.0 is eligible. 2.5 says in the handbook you can play sports for us. If you don't get a 3.0, I'm going to throw you off the team. Yeah. That's the opening statement I say to the parents, and they're like, all right, I like that. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And I'm like, so you set the bar higher. Then I get them to compete with one another. I got 2 kids coming up, Estevez and Gillis. I got a 4.5. I got a 4.6. I got a 4.7. I'm taking 3 APs. I'm taking 4. I'm taking 5. I'm taking 4 college classes. I'm taking 5 college classes. They just keep topping each other off. And when it's done, and then the other kids see it, and it creates they're doing it amongst themselves. I kind of set them up and pushed them into the ring to get with one another, and they end up making each other better.
Well, I think it's better for you as a coach. Well, we like to win tournaments, right? Coaches, you want to win tournaments, but how much nicer is it to say, man, I had 3 kids go to Ivy League this year. I had 5 kids go to Scholastic, All-American, whatever, right? That's got to mean something, because everybody, and that is one of the reasons why I think I fell in love with this sport, and I'm bringing it, and I started doing it, because I don't see.
I think there's a big misinterpretation of that too in wrestling. I think that wrestlers are smarter than most other sports.
I haven't come across any blockheads, really.
No, I mean, you get them. I mean, you get the kid,
Yeah, yeah.
but the
But
one guy that's kind of ruining the weight curve of the GPA of
yeah,
the team, you got two of those.
yeah.
You got the 2.4 and a 2.3, and then the next guy's a 3.0. That's the bottom of the pool. You know what I mean? But what overall, when I see these kids, I'm like, wrestlers are not. They hold a higher. I think it's the competitiveness. I coach cross country, believe it or not. I know I don't look like it, but we got a pretty good team. We're stuck in this state championship district down here, but I make all the wrestlers run. And the first year when I was like 7 years ago, I brought out a team. A couple kids had tattoos, big like this, and the shirts, and just ripped. And they ran out there as all these private schools. And we show up and they're wrestling in the grass in their uniform before the race starts. And the kids like, you see the one kid going, he has a tattoo. And they line up on the line ready to start with like 300 runners. And you see a domino, people start to fall when the whistle blows, they're elbowing the guys and running. But I throw them out there and it's just a culture. I mean, you assume a wrestler's just a blockhead, but truthfully, I mean, I think they could do more. I think it's the competitive heart. In other words, they did well in cross country because they have that competitive edge. Like it's a gut check, and wrestlers have gut checks, and I think it translates over into that. And so I found that I had the top 5 runners were all wrestlers for the first 4 years. I couldn't get,
Well, it feels like
because
this.
they didn't even want to run. They're like, no, I don't want to do it. I trick them every year. I'd send them out there and I go, whoever gets the fastest time wins, something, whatever,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So they'd run and I'd time them 21, 20, 22. I go, you guys are all on the cross country team. Wait, I wouldn't have won. I don't want to be on the team. So,
I mean, and I think it's a sport where, I played basketball and football and did tennis and stuff like that. And, kids show up in those sports, maybe not so much tennis, but in basketball and football, a lot of kids show up and they're just good at it. Right. And right off the bat, they don't lose. They're on winning teams. But I mean, I've seen just in the last couple of years that I've been around, I've seen the best football player on the team or the best baseball player on the team. This kid's been winning his whole life, and he didn't win a match this year, and he's frustrated. And I'm like, I'm welcome to wrestling because.
Well, I mean, tennis is a very hard sport. Swimming is a hard sport, believe it or not. I mean, you can't just jump in the pool and be good at that. You got to swim for miles and miles every day.
Guys get beat on the mat. They don't just walk on a mat. I don't care how tough you are. You're going to get single legged or you're going to get
right.
Whatever.
I mean, you got to factor in smarts. You got to there's a lot to factor in with wrestling.
Yeah.
Makes it the hardest.
Machiavello was on yesterday and he said that, my freshman and sophomore year were terrible at NC State. And I really was like just barely making it. And then I realized that I was so strong and I was athletic, but my wrestling IQ was bad. And I worked on my wrestling IQ, he said, and then I ended up an NCAA champ and I'm on the world team and I'm
the athlete in him actually turned into a wrestler, which is that, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, because he said I couldn't see the openings or I didn't understand the leg was moving. Okay, now he's going to do this. I'm going to do that. And he said, once I figured that out, man, and maybe I did it late in life, but it worked. It was the right time. I know, well, we talked about that. And then obviously when I asked you about your club and your program, we kind of already went into how you built one of the toughest clubs around and talked about your relationship with Nick Benton. So we're in this thing of sanctioning girls, man. How important is girls wrestling for the state of Florida?
Well, I'm actually one of the people on the advisory committee that voted it in. I'm one of the people on there, and I just was put on it again for another 3 years.
Okay.
So, yeah, we passed it. As I know, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, pass it." We passed it a long time ago. We passed it a year and a half ago, and then we passed it again, and we passed it again. It goes up and down that ladder. It's trust me, they're not trying to hold back girls wrestling. If you knew the ins and outs of it, it's too hard to explain. They come in and start telling you about the numbers of schools participating and you have to be at a 30% benchmark of the amount of schools there are in the thing. They were talking about some other sport, you know, like not field hockey. Yeah, field hockey or something, right? They were talking about a different sport. We can't get it in because there's a percentage of schools that don't hit this or that. We somehow got past that. That was the first stumbling block a while ago. So it's not that they didn't want to have girls wrestling. It really had nothing to do with that. Those people just look at numbers. It's amazing. And they can't make schools have wrestling. Now they're making schools have wrestling programs that make, you know, good girls wrestling. When you do that, you got to have a certain amount of participation, you know, to determine divisions and everything else. So now you put a burden on, you know, the half of the schools that don't want to have girls wrestling, and then the pressure they're going to get from the students and the parents and things like that, you know. So that's why that number, just having 300 girls at the state tournament wasn't enough of a number. When they had what tipped the scales was they had so many in the OPC system this year, you know, the weight system, that the number was huge going into this past year. And that's what let us slip this in. And it went up to the ADs and was passed. It comes back to us. We passed it again. They passed it again. And now it's sitting with the board of directors.
So what are we waiting for it to say it's sanctioned?
Well, here's the thing. Now it's logistics, which was presented to them on how you region it, where we do it. We're going to do it right at the state tournament. We're going to have a fourth mat in the finals. We're going to have 2 or 3 more mats in the corner. We're going to have 16 woman bracket, and it's going to happen there. A few weeks earlier, there'll be a super region, or the week before, there'll be like a super region. You know, like 4, 6, I don't know how they're going to do it, you know, and it's going to be, I think it's going to be 4 regions, and then that's it. That's your district and your region. They're going to bring 4 competitors from each and have a state tournament. We gave them the logistics because that was the huge problem. We don't have room in the facilities and practices. We can't get the coaches to overlap their coaching, because if there's a girls tournament at some school and there's a boys tournament at another school, and the school's not going to pay for more coaches, all of these arguments that you hear about all factored into a lot of it. So let's do it in the spring. Let's do it in the fall. There's overlap on that too. So it got worked out. I think it's them making it happen and putting a set of rules on it and getting it in a book by the time school starts. Does that make any sense? I mean, like,
yeah,
it's going to happen.
It helps me understand it more. And it's
not a I don't want girls wrestling thing. It has nothing to do with that at all. Trust me. I would have thought that differently, but I sit and listen to this stuff, and I'm telling you, they don't care if it's a girl or a boy. It's irrelevant to them. Sure, we can have any sport you want and any gender you want, you know, but, well, I don't know about that, but
there's a few more genders.
That's a whole nother issue. That's a whole other issue.
There's a few more genders out there that have been sanctioned. There are other
So it's not like that. So now it's basically bureaucrat. It's like Congress right now, passing a bill to the Senate. The Senate kicks it back to the Congress. The Congress kicks it back to the Senate. Then it gets sent to the president, and the president has to sign it.
Right.
And the president's not going to sign it, and they know it when it gets there, then they don't send it there like that. So the problem is they had to package it all together with a bow so that it can be released this year. If it's not released this year, which who knows what's happening with this year, unfortunately for me and everyone else, it will happen the next year. And I still believe, in my mind, it's a 50-50 that it happens this year. I think they might pull it off. This thing might have thrown everything for a loop, though.
Yeah, and I mean, that Osceola Heritage Park has more than enough room to.
We might actually fill the stands now.
Yeah, but
the girls wrestling has a good following.
Even if the under, even if you had to wrestle the first couple of rounds of the girls in the room right next door, there's that.
No, they won't even do that. It doesn't have to. We have plenty of mat space. The one thing it could happen we talked about was going to 3 days again, like we used to for the state tournament. Possibly. There's plenty of referees standing around, if you ask me. Plenty of them. Too many sitting there blocking the view of everyone in the stands, standing in the corners.
Yeah, and then they can raise the price of the hot dog to like $8.
No, it's not even a matter of that. They have plenty of rest. They can make it fit, and the stands can hold everybody in there. I don't think that's the issue. I think that it can be pulled off, and no one seemed concerned about that.
Good.
There's logistics for that. See, so all those little details, if they're not done and tied tightly with a bow and put together, then you don't have a proper plan to go in front of the president to sign. He's not going to sign it. Say, you know what, bring it back to me when it's ready. And that's kind of where we're at. It has nothing to do with girls wrestling and not letting girls wrestle.
That's
Zero.
like a parent and their kid, right? Go away until you have it right.
Get it right and bring it back to me.
Yeah. Now, I had Coach Dominguez on a few weeks ago.
Coral Reef?
Yeah, and
good guy.
I know that his goal in life is to get middle school wrestling to a point where it's functioning at a great level, to where all of you head coaches and high school coaches and club coaches are really benefiting from it, and it's growing Florida wrestling.
Well, I mean, I have a middle school in my school, and I have many middle school kids on my team, especially over the years.
Yeah,
it would be great for me, but I got to be honest. I'll be realistic. Even down here, man, as much as we have the hammers and we have the solid programs, the haves and the have-nots, you barely can get teams to field teams down here. I don't, in this county, besides a handful of teams, you're wrestling 3 and 4 and 5, 6 guys. You don't know if they're going to have them, if they're going to get them there. They can get a bus, they got to put 4 kids on a bus. I just don't see the support level of schools and coaches down here. Not the coaches that care, not the coaches with the programs, that they can barely organize the high school teams, where we lose teams every year in Broward and Dade County because they can't even get anyone to coach. South Miami lost their program last year. Schools up in Chaminade and Hollandale and all of these schools that have been around forever, even had state champions and things like that, gone because there's not enough people. So to put more stuff on the plate to make middle school wrestling happen, I realistically don't see that happen. It would be a huge benefit for me. Yeah. But then again, my middle school kids wrestle in high school practice every day. So I'm preparing my kids for high school. We'll go to every age middle school tournament there is in the country and go, you know what I'm saying? I get them the competition.
Well, you have the benefit of the middle school and the high school being on the same property, right? So they can all wrestle together.
They all wrestle under me.
So
yeah.
What about like devil's advocate and the guy saying, well, wouldn't we have bigger, better, more sturdy or filled up programs if the middle school had wrestling, or whatever they would say to?
Of course, you need a feeder system for the high schools.
Right.
I understand that, but I don't see I don't see coaches. I don't see enough bodies to put those programs together on a middle school level to feed these schools. Feed a school that doesn't have a team? You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me, because just being realistic,
sure.
Youth wrestling has a better chance. And then you just do all the middle school things you can do. They have a great middle school Dade tournament down there. It's tremendous. That's why Dade is ahead of Broward and pretty much ahead of most counties. They have a feeder from this Dade wrestling schools down there, and it is a benefit. And there's other counties, I think, up in Jacksonville, Clay County, up in there they have it as well, up in that area, and various other places. But I think it would benefit all those programs. But you're looking at, sometimes in those places, you're looking at smaller towns with less high schools. We have 50-some high schools in Broward County. We're the 4th largest school district in the country, Broward County. And we can't fill our programs here.
Yeah, I love. What was I had Miss Vallis on, who's a women's coach now. And
Arelis from Clewiston, right?
Yeah, and when I looked up her town, I told her, I go, man, how did anybody even find you in that town? Like, your town was the amount of my.
They had some tough wrestling programs back in. They had a tough wrestling program back in the day. They always have good kids. And nowhere.
Now, what about the next level? We hear the argument on, we lose our wrestlers because we don't have a Division I college, and then I've had some people say it'd be a good idea to try to grow junior colleges. I know when my when my uncles were younger, they, you know, Miami-Dade Community College and Broward, they all had programs, but what would it do for Florida to get kind of a junior college thing going? And then
Any college thing going would be excellent. Anything. And you're seeing the NAIAs popping up, which is the easiest realm because they have less regulation. And now that there's so many in the Southeast, not just in Florida, in Georgia, and you know, I mean, them van rides, I take them in my sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wouldn't bother me at all to have to drive to North Carolina or South Carolina every weekend. You know, and then it's tying it into Georgia and then tying it into Florida. And then maybe it'll be tournaments in Florida every other third weekend. You know, if you could get a few more programs. As far as the D1, man, you're still talking about big conferences, and they don't have any time for that. I don't think it's realistic. You know, again, just not right now. I think the best way to do it is to build it through junior colleges and NEIAs and have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 programs down here, wrestling, tied, make that whole link to the Southeast kind of connect with one another and network. And then Florida State and Florida and some others might put a program together. Because there is ACC wrestling, but there is an SEC wrestling, you know, obviously. So I don't know. I think growing it at the grassroots, which would be JUCOs and NEIAs, is the smarter way to go. It's easier task. Maybe there's not a lot of D2s around here, so it's a hike. The NEIAs, there's a little bit more of a connection, and I think as this keeps expanding, and I can tell you what would help that: women's wrestling. Women's wrestling.
Because that's what when you talk to the club owners, the club coaches, the argument is the Title IX thing. So if you could get,
of course,
if you could, essentially, you would probably have to come in with a Division I girls program first, let that be successful, and then be able to now bring
enough to match up. I mean, there's schools I heard of that they walk around the campus and ask the girl if they want to be on the rowing team and give them a scholarship on site just to fill the scholarships. You know what I mean? In colleges, like, have you ever rowed before? Yeah, once. Oh, in summer camp. Here's a scholarship, because they need to match the boys' scholarships, which is silliness anyway, but that's not even real. But I think that would be a way if every program that starts down here should try to start a girls program simultaneously. Every boys program, I think, would benefit us fastest because of the whole equity issue.
Yeah, and that's what they were saying was, every time we go to the school for a program, they say it's money. Obviously, everything is money, but they say, well, if you can fund the program and make it successful on your own for a few years.
It's not that much money. Colleges wrestle half the schedule that high schools wrestle, you know, as far as the amount. I can budget. You'd be surprised what a budget is to go wrestle 5 out-of-state tournaments. I'm not talking with airplanes and everything else. You know what I mean? As a small college team, it's not a lot of money. I do it 5 times a year. It's not the end of the world. It's $40,000, $50,000, and you can easily fund a wrestling team. It's not millions of dollars like they pretend it's going to be.
Well, nowadays it might be cheaper to take the plane.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Allegiant sent me a flight for $24 yesterday.
Oh, man.
I mean, you can't even $24. What are you, nuts?
You know what?
I might fly just for the heck of it.
Well, when you show up, your bag is going to be $50.
No, they let you bring one on. I got it in the backpack. It's all good. I'm just going to get out, walk around, and then get back. Something to do for today for $48.
That's awesome. Go up to Asheville.
That's exactly where it was, too. I got property up there.
Oh, I love it. A great place. Hey, so key lime pie or New York cheesecake?
Key lime. I was a chef at one point in my life.
Ah, so these are good. Florida grouper or mangrove snapper?
No, grouper all day.
I had these questions for Ricky, but Ricky didn't show up.
No.
He was on his work call, so he couldn't make it. So now I'll use them for you.
All right.
Florida lobster or Florida stone crabs?
Stone crabs.
Key West or South Beach?
Neither.
Neither.
Key West itself, the city, yeah, or South Beach, neither.
Headgear or
Oh,
no headgear?
headgear,
32 or Fargo?
32 all day.
High school scoring or NCAA scoring?
Hmm. NCA for the riding time. All my guys ride.
Ocean or pool?
Pool.
Florida wrestling or the country?
I'd argue that, man. We've battled toe to toe with those guys. We wrestled a team full of Pennsylvania state champions and lost by 1.
Iron Man or the Beast?
Iron Man's tougher than the Beast.
Nice. All right, Whopper or Big Mac?
Whopper.
I love it, man.
Flame broiled.
Flame broiled. I think if you go and you got the Whopper and then you went and got the McDonald's fries and Coke, that would be
There you go. That's the good combination right there.
the combination right there.
Yeah, I hate their fries at Burger King. I throw them out the window.
Or like the Popeyes chicken sandwich, but the Chick-fil-A waffle fries.
Yeah, those are good too.
Well, hey man, it's very good. I mean, I've heard your name so much, and obviously being around the club that my kid is in, and I forgot the L on your last name when I sent you the first one last night, so I fixed it. It said Blasucci.
It sounds Blasucci, but it's really Blasucci.
Yeah, so I got text message like, "Hey, heads up, there's no L. You forgot the L." Were texting me.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah. So,
I'm old, man. I was sleeping.
I was half asleep too when I got the text message. But hey, did I go over everything okay with you? Is there anything that you want to go over that I missed?
No, nothing. I think people need to go outside, take their mask off, and run around in the streets.
Yes, and lick each other like this. Lick each other. See what happens.
No, you don't have to do any of that. But it's just, I'm telling you, it's contagious. As one area does something, another area will do something. It's its own contagion. That it's just not. You know, I got a good one for you. You guys can all look this one up when you're done. If you can find it. You know how many people die every year in America of COPD?
How many?
140,000 on average, according to the CDC. So that's 11,666.67 people a month. It's been 2.5 months, right? It's about 25 to 30,000 people. I'm curious to see in March how many people actually on their death certificates said COPD on there.
And yeah, you know, I think the thing is, and
I bet you nobody's dying of heart attacks anymore either.
Right.
COVID.
Yeah.
I mean,
who knows? I guess it's the airborne danger that
it's 130,000 degrees outside.
You think that kills it?
Oh, I know it does. Hey, look, we can't live our lives like that. We're not going to be immune to anything if we stay locked up.
No, I agree. I want to go outside and play too. All right. Well, at least I want to see my kids go outside.
I'm in an area, it's tough because at least you're in an area where, I mean, we're 2 weeks behind everybody else everywhere pretty much. They just started opening restaurants here.
South Florida's been tough. I know my dad is down in the Keys, and they've had that shut down. You know, rightfully so.
Yeah. Well, I think there's been like 260 deaths in Broward County. There's almost 2 million people in Broward County. If you would open the roads up and all the restaurants for the same 2.5 months, you probably had more than 260 people die. If there was no disease, you would have more than that die during that same time. I mean, it's just, that's a fraction of a number, and we're living in a lockdown here. It's 260 people in 3 months out of 2 million in the state, 1,700. That's the number's not even there. And as I said, who knows if it was really COVID, you know? But I tell you what, every time I see a sporting event on TV or anything else, you better hoping that people are having games and they let 10 customers in and then 20 and then 40, because we got like 7 months to get to that point or we're not going to be wrestling.
Yeah. And
Everybody that wants to still, you got to be a part of the movement to not hide anymore. Do it the right way, but not hide anymore, because everything we love, wrestling, is gonna get hit. And if
well,
football,
I have Dale Cody coming on tomorrow, and he's going to talk about the new rules that came out with USA. And you know,
National Federation put out some not nice stuff today or yesterday.
well, that was nice of them.
It's not, doesn't look good. I mean, there's so many things that they need to meet to move along, and it's we'll see what happens. I hope football is playing. I mean, that's the trick, you know. I mean, those guys need to be playing.
Yeah, I mean,
And there are states where it is happening, so I'm hoping that it just leapfrogs to the next state.
well, I'm just thankful that the UFC said, you know, the heck with it. We're showing, and we got to watch some fights the last week. So
Florida's definitely ahead of most of the places in the country. So, I mean, we have a fair shot at this.
cool. Hey, man, well, I can't wait to finally get an opportunity to meet you in person,
Yes, sir.
meet everyone in person. And like I tell everybody, anybody you think would be valuable for the show, I don't care if they're 7 years old or 70, please send them and let's talk wrestling and let's do it. And then my new platform here, Ward Wrestling Live, if you'd kindly put a review on there for me. There's a little button that says review. Whether you want to put it really sucked or he did a good job, either okay by me. But at least I get a
Can you
review.
please take the survey at the end of this call? Yeah, sure. I promise I will.
Yes,
Click.
yes. Yeah, that never happens. It never happens. So at least I ask. So I did my due diligence. But thank you, man. Thank you for all you're doing down there in South Florida
Too.
and in the country. And
Keep it going. Keep it going.
yes. One day I won't be on my dining room table. I'll actually be like somewhere where you can see wrestling behind me, I hope. So little by little, we'll get out there. We'll get the mats opened up. Fingers crossed.
Yes, it's going to happen.
Thanks, Coach, man. You have a great day. And I really
too.
appreciate you coming on, and good luck in the future with your team and that young man in 7th grade you have there. Looking forward to watching his career.
Yeah, he's something special.
Yeah, he looks like a 12-year-old, 30-year-old.
Yeah, he's even bigger now.
Oh, it's awesome. All right, buddy. You take care.
Have a good day, sir.